We had all the things that a community would need, and they were people of color. So people were able to really, live the kind of lifestyle that, modern America in those days we could live. The early 60s in Houston, from what I can recall, really involved a lot of tight-knit community interaction. So the African American community was clearly in defined neighborhoods throughout the city. It was a very vibrant community that everything you needed was right there that you could access. My mother was the first Black registered nurse at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. She was tenacious in believing that she was worthy and deserving of promotions, and was a good business person and had the ability to do whatever it was that she prepared herself to do. My dad was one of many first of many things. So was my grandfather. My uncles and aunts on both sides of the family just were all people that really worked hard and were go-getters, and came from parents that, generation removed from slavery. And so we're just accustomed to going for it. So my grandfather, Big Judd, was well known in the Houston community. He was a trusted business leader in both the Black and white community. So it was easy to trust that he had the business acumen, I guess, to ensure that if he were to be an insurance company, that he could be trained to do what was required to be in good accordance as an insurance company, which they were. To be a mortgage company, they had the capacity to be in real estate sales, and the myriad of other things that he was able to help broker here in the city was good for the white community because they needed the loans as well. I remember the times of going into my grandfather's real estate building, and people would come by and they would be so proud of the fact that they were at a Black-owned real estate and mortgage company, that they could go there and get legal assistance because we had a lawyer in the building, that they could do their closings on their homes there. And just not to mention the whole political environment. After 5, the gentleman would meet in the back of the building and sit around a tall table that had a few bottles on top of it, and they would have these fantastic discussions about what they were trying to accomplish and how they were going to do it. And Big Judd, was the catalyst. When my father was elected in 1971, he had to have the whole city to vote for him over the votes of a white man who was the incumbent. So it was a huge accomplishment. I remember when Ben Reyes was elected and Mr. McGowan was elected after my dad left his position. So all of a sudden we had, 3 people on city council that were minorities. We expanded from 5 at large to 12-member district, and so with these opportunities came these great changes for our city. The life that my father lived in his generation, there was a moment of a golden time, I think, when whites and blacks were truly working together, and they realized, as I mentioned earlier, that the laws were now in favor of opportunity for all people. We at least need to try. And so there was a spirit of camaraderie that had not existed prior to. But at the same time, we were beginning to, integrate. I was bused to a interracial school at about age 13, so that would have been 1972, 73, somewhere around there. But, most schools were still primarily, white schools were white and the black schools were black. The cohesiveness of the third wards and the other places where we lived and worked, that began to erode. And once again, it was an experiment of learning that there was a weakness when you separated and not allowed, but people moved to where they wanted to live, and that the businesses moved to other locations, perhaps where they thought they could generate more income, right? So those who were left behind, that's what tended to create some of the slums and ghettos that we have today. An insurance company, a real estate company, a mortgage company, city council, Ford dealership, franchise, radio station, served on lots of different boards, and it's just I think it was an amazing thing to see, watching my family be involved from a business standpoint in all of these areas. Helping certain people get elected to the school board or the Congress. These were things that stuck with me and showed me, maybe this is what life is all about. When my father passed, I'd never forget being at his funeral, and one of the existing council members said, it's up to you now. Now's the time for Judson III to rise to the occasion, and we need you in this seat. Well, I ran for office. My father had served for 19 years. My mother served the remainder of his 20th year. And I ran against 7 opponents. Had never had such a awesome challenge like that before in life. But I ran on the platform of a better Houston and a new vision for our downtown. So we were successful in getting elected, obviously. Making Houston a destination and keeping it a destination was important to me. It takes sacrifice. So trying to ensure that our communities are represented at the highest levels and that they believe in themselves to do great things. We owe a greater sense of responsibility beyond ourselves. Now is the time that we have to think beyond just ourselves and our family. We have to spend some time thinking about others because others make up the rest of the world. And if all the others are falling apart, then there's really nothing left for us. So we can't just be focused on self. We have to be focused on self and beyond.